Evening and welcome to Laughing Monkey Music Show. Jason Bittner, fantastic drummer. How you doing, man?
I'm uh I'm well. I'm cold, but I'm well. How are
Well,
you?
we're both celebrating this.
Yeah, we're
Well,
both we're both celebrating the cold front coming through the East Coast right now.
and the New Jersey, sorry, New York, and the New England, the trifecta of tri-state area with
Yeah.
storms. We all got some snow in, and I see you're actually you got the Patriots, right? Thing is that
No, no, no. I'm wearing the losing
yeah.
team scar is that's a whole Shadows Fall dynamic because I'm the only New Yorker in a Massachusetts band. So even though
Okay,
for years I didn't watch football, it wasn't I didn't watch, I didn't pay attention to it that much. I'd watch if it was on, but I didn't have a team and stuff like that. So I wouldn't really care. So if the Patriots were winning or losing, it didn't matter. If they were happy on the
right.
bus, okay, cool. But when it came to Yankees Red Sox, then that's another story. And then the bus would explode, and then Matt and John would get involved, and I'd be like, "You two don't even watch baseball, so shut up," But because
It's just a competition. That's just a
they would
competition at
just
that point.
root for the Red Sox. But now that I actually have a team for the last decade or so,
Yeah.
now I'm like, just beat the Patriots anyways. I'm going for the Seahawks because it would have been us against the Patriots, and if we lost, and I still
Yeah.
would still be hating on the Patriots. So
Let's talk drums. Let's talk music. What you got going on? Clearly, you've as far as drumming goes, I always enjoyed you because you've played a lot of different bands. You have your own style. I think your style lends to the music, the bands you're playing with. Obviously, it's a certain theme of music, but I do think you play to the songs. And one of the things I like, that's what I hear. You can correct me. I like
I'm not
when
going
you
to. I
play to
would.
the music. When you play when I believe if you honor any song, any artist, you play to a song. Like some people they a lot of pop music oversings a song with too many notes. Like you gotta honor the song, and you can embellish it and have fun, but there's a certain point. And as much as I know about drumming, you're one of the drummers that really kind of honors that, I feel. Now, you can correct me or
I'll
not correct
speak
me, or
on that.
actually.
Now
Yeah,
that you have
yeah,
let
that's
me
my thought.
wax poetic on that. I was going to say that I would totally agree with you about the um, musicality. I would call
Okay.
myself a very musical drummer, not
Mhm.
necessarily a busy drummer, but a musical one. Neil Peart was my favorite drummer. Okay, so
I'm aware of that.
I
That's
mean,
hard to not know.
he's always going to be the guy. He's always right there looking over me. So I always kind of addressed my the way I addressed writing drum parts is
Hmm.
exactly how his mindset and another prog rock genius, Mark Zonder, who played in Fates Warning for years,
Hmm.
the way both of them put their drum parts together, because Mark was very influenced by Neil as well. But it's that running everything up the flagpole that you can run up and finding what works best for each part. Not necessarily the part that was the coolest thing drum wise, or maybe the most busiest thing drum wise, or oh, that's fast double bass, or it's a blast beat, or it's
Right.
whatever it is. Does it fit with the music at that certain point? That's always the first question that I come up with because I used to when I was younger, like in my own bands and stuff, like when I say own bands, like bands where I formed them, I was the leader. I
Right.
wrote the songs in like my early upstart bands, 18, 19, 20 years old, right out of Berkeley. So with that stuff, and plus you're 18, 19 years old, you're full of piss and vinegar. You want to put every chop you have into every single moment of playing.
Right.
So then I'd be like, dude, can you not do stuff right here? I'm like, no, because I wrote the song. We're gonna do it the way I want to effing do it. But I finally got out of that mindset because that's not how you make good music. That's just how you become a tolerant dictator and a leader in a band that nobody wants to fucking play with. So I realized that I should start maybe thinking about the big picture in here and what the music what really is called for in this music. Now,
Hmm.
what you said earlier too was the bands I play in are styled stylistically where my drumming fits in
Right.
pretty much like a glove. And you are right. I fit in with that realm of thrash verging on death metal drumming. And why I say that is because I am a thrash metal drummer. I am not an extreme metal drummer. Yeah, I can get up to 240. I can play triplets at 260.
I feel you got some prog in you though too. I think you could totally be a prog drummer.
Oh no, well, yes, I
You
have
do.
all that.
I think yeah.
I'm talking strictly metal
Oh,
technique.
okay.
I'm just talking strictly metal techniques. For example, if David Vincent called me tomorrow and goes, "Hey, you want to play an I Am Morbid?" I would go, ah. I would love to, but I could probably only play half the set. So it's like I can't play that blast beat that long. I can't. But if you need this 190 blast beat, I can do that. If I'm writing my own things, it's a lot easier to do. So you
Right.
know what I'm saying? It's like I'm more the thrash. I grew up playing thrash, Slayer, Anthrax. I didn't grow up playing extreme metal and the stuff that came later on. I got into Morbid Angel and Death and Napalm Death and Obituary and the early death metal bands as it was happening, yes, but still
Right.
I was rooted in thrash playing. I only thought, like, for example, I thought the only blast beat was when you go like this and you're playing things together. But no,
Yeah.
is now I know I just said I can't play blast beats, and then I just played one like at 190 for 12 bars. But my point is that stuff is not my forte. That's from
Mhm.
literally from playing and working on single strokes at Berkeley and just trying
Right.
to get my speed down and playing in marching band and having bigger sticks and working on your doubles. So those are the first two things that I work on with any student, because all of the bigger teachers that I studied with later on and professionals, like especially like the lessons that I've taken with Steve Smith, two of the biggest things are how is your double stroke roll and how is your single stroke roll. Most metal drummers and most kids don't even know how to play a double stroke roll. They don't know that. Or they can't hear the difference between and you know what I mean? So it's a fundamental thing that is part of everything in drumming.
Being in like in marching band and all the music classes, how much of an asset? I've always kind of heard the more I talk to people, I've had it actually, and then did rock and metal. It was so much of an asset to add to them because of what you learned, the basics and rudimentals. How do you feel on that one? I mean,
It was very cool, and I'm glad I only did it for 2 years because I went to I went to the high school down the street from me. All right, so this is funny. My house is situated it's in the city of Schenectady, but it's in the town of Niskayuna. Okay. But where my home is situated, it is a mile from the main high school, from the city high school this way. But it's
hmm.
also 0.8 miles to
Oh, one of those
Niskayuna High
things.
School, which is the town high school. So in 1984, my mom bought the house that I currently live in. When she passed, I moved back in. My wife moved in years later, blah, 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 blah. But at the time we literally lived 2 blocks down the road. We were renting a house 2 blocks down the road. So when I was there, I was at Schenectady High School. They had a marching band and a marching band program. In the middle of my sophomore year, my mom bought the house up here. They didn't realize it until the end of my sophomore year. And they're like, Mr. Bittner, you need to pay tuition to come, to this high school. Oh, yeah. We would have had to pay tuition to go to Schenectady High School, which was a lesser school than Niskayuna High School, that's why people move to this area, is because of the school district. Way better
Really?
high school that I was going to for free. They would have let me stay here if it was my senior year. They're like, no, if it's a senior year, we let them go. We don't, take you
Yeah.
out of the school. But since it was my junior, they're like, nope, see you later. So first of all, the 16-year-old metalhead went from the metalhead high school over to the Grateful Dead preppy school where he was like one of five, and it just sucked. So when I got there, guess what? No marching band.
Right.
So I only had 2 years. So my first year I was playing bass drum, which just sucked because the worst part about that was I knew I was better than half the guys on the snare line. My hands were better. I could play the parts better. The one kid didn't even know the street beat for the school. And I'm like, why am I dung, 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 dung? Why am I doing this? Those things were brutal too. Having to go because all my friends are hanging out there at the football game, smoking pot under the bleachers. I'm dressed up in this stupid suit with this giant Fred Flintstone hat and a snare drum, freezing my ass off at the football game, you
Like
know?
you're going to be the nutcracker in the middle of the summer.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but it was worth it. It helped my hands so much. It got me to learn rudiments way better. It got me to learn how to play accented patterns, more too. Like
Mhm.
for instance, like they played this one part that or this one piece, and I still remember it was called Coronado because it was a driving snare drum piece. But if you just looked at it, if they took away the accents, it would
Yeah.
just be this. That's it. 16th notes. But it was the placements of all the accents that made it a musical piece. And once it was played, it was like and it was really fucking cool. And it was just stuff like that I was working on at 16 with, giant, 3S sticks like this.
Those are awesome. Young musicians to say, if you have an opportunity, take it from somebody who's experienced it.
100% agree with all of that. However, it takes a certain discipline to be in a structured music program. If you are not going to put the time in, if you are not going to practice, it's like the same shit that I talk to my students about. If you're not going to put the time in and you're not going to practice, then you don't belong there. If you're
But it
just
also shows your career, though, too, right? If you can't do that, then you are not set for music career because the ones that are going to push through all the hard times, you need the structure. You can't
Absolutely, but
be
but what I mean too is it's like to jump into it's one thing just to like play drums or an instrument for fun or to
right.
play sports for fun, but then once you jump into an organized thing like organized music at school or organized
Hmm.
sports, Little League, Babe Ruth, there are certain parameters we should adhere to. If you really kind of don't want to play baseball, then don't join Little League because
Right. Yeah, of course.
the weight on the team. You're the guy that no one wants to throw the ball to, or whatever.
Right.
If you don't want to be, if you kind of like playing snare drum, then don't try to be on the marching band snare line with 9 other guys that you're going to mess up walking down the road. So
Right.
that's what I'm saying. Like
I get that part.
it takes a certain like most kids though do want to be there. They do want to be in the music program. So I would say do it because it definitely helped me. Look, I was in all the band and music programs that I could be in from the time I could be in them. Like we
Hmm.
were we were allowed to right where I went to elementary school, right down the road that way. We were allowed to start you were allowed to start taking musical lessons in second grade, but for some reason you couldn't start drums until third grade. So at the time, like probably from like 4 to 8, I had toy guitars, toy drums. I wanted to just play something. I didn't know exactly I didn't know if I was going to play guitar or drums. I just, it was going to be something. And then third grade, I was able to start taking drums. So I started taking drum lessons. Third, fourth, and fifth grade in school. Once I got to sixth grade, that's when I was able to enter the concert band at school. So I entered concert band in sixth grade. I did concert band for sixth, seventh, and eighth. You were able to go into jazz band at seventh. So I did jazz band for seventh and eighth. When I went to high school the first year, I did concert band, jazz band, and marching band. Second year, I broke my wrist racing BMX right before the season started. So I missed out on the first half of marching band, but I still had the second half of the year or the second half of the time in concert band and jazz band. When I went to Niskayuna High School, even though I lost the marching band, I entered the orchestra there because then they had me playing timpani in the orchestra. So again, concert band, jazz band, orchestra through 11th and 12th grade, and then I went off to Berkeley. And then when I came back home in and I was going to community college just to get a different uh unrelated degree. I still went and did percussion ensemble in the community college too, just for, fun of it.
That'd be first because you think your guitar playing reflects how you play as a drummer.
Not at all.
Okay, but yeah, you see how drummers do that. Some drummers do that. I'm not saying Charlie, but I'm saying I've noticed it. So it's always interesting to see how you attack that instrument.
The reason why I say that is I learned guitar like through high school, basically just to have another instrument and a tool. I wanted to play cover songs. I wanted to play Jimi Hendrix songs. I wanted to play Dawkins songs.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to play Rat stuff. I I couldn't play the music that I was playing on drums. I was playing Anthrax and Slayer on drums. I could not play Anthrax and Slayer on guitar. No, no. My hand cannot pick that fast. So, but I used it for a tool, and then eventually I use it as a writing tool too. Like, all right, I can come up with riffs. I can do this. I'm not a solo player, but that's a cool riff. Blah, 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 blah. But it was never an overlap thing because it wasn't like I was like writing like albums worth of material like Devin Townsend or something where we're talking 4 or 5 songs at a clip here and there, me and conspiring with a bass player or something. And then we would always write the music first, and then I'd put a drum part down later on.
Okay.
The music would come first. But as far as like my approaching of like when we do it, like if we're writing songs now, like for example, like with Shadows Fall, a lot of times John will just come up with riffs and he'll send me, cell phone riffs of him sitting there in his pajamas. All right, here's the first part, here's the second part. And I'll take the videos and I'll just, put them in my phone and jam along here. And then once we get in a room together, then we,
make it more cohesive.
Yeah. And then everybody else chimes in too, and we put it together as a band. It's much better. It was much better for us to always, at least for Shadows Fall, to always write as a collective unit, because that way there was never any bullshit. There was never anybody going, oh, I want more of the publishing money or blah, blah, blah. Or I wrote that riff or I wrote this part. At the end of the day, we all sat in the room together for 8 hours that day working on the song together. You didn't leave 4 hours early. You were there the whole entire time. So you deserved exactly as much as anybody else gets if this thing ever does like that. Business is the reason why people leave bands and why fucking shit gets fucked up between people and why people don't talk to each other anymore and things like that. It's just stupid. It's stupid. You should, when people are treated fairly and things are, copacetic, it just makes for a better operation for everybody. And that's part of the reason why we did Category 7 the way we did it, because
yeah, so something like that. That's a great
if we're gonna do this band, this is gonna be like all of us came out of situations at one point or another in our careers, like let's just say were frustrating or didn't end up the way we expected or whatever, without any more said on that. All right, so that idea to do this band, and that was part of it. We're like, look, we're just going to do this. This is going to be for us, and whatever comes of it, it's not your band, it's not your band, it's not your band, it's our band collectively, which means that on paper we're all equal members here with everything that goes on with this band. If we make tons of money, then we all get an equal share. If we make no money, then we get an all equal share of zero.
Of nothing.
But the point is
that split it
all in as a collective unit, and it's not, whatever. In every single band in my career that I've been in, except for one, I've been an equal member. That's it. So I've been very lucky, because there's only been one situation in my career where I have not been.
Bands have been put together as super groups for labels. You can kind of feel it's perfectly musically, perfectly.
And we didn't want that label from the get-go, even though they gave it to us, but we're fine with that, whatever. But I think it does translate. And even though we haven't played that many shows, I mean, we've played a handful of shows now. We've been live, and now we've done the celebrating the Anthrax thing as John's band. So we have time under our belt now. But now we have 2 separate entities with that. We have Category 7, and now we have John Bush's Anthrax. So It's still category 7 being out there. We're just not
Yep.
playing our music, but we're still there. It's still putting that name in people's heads.
Hmm.
So the idea, like I said, the idea was that with that was like it would be collectively ours, and then whatever happens, happens. We all have mutual admiration for everybody for each other as players and people. So we knew that we had assembled a pretty good
It's
pretty good.
definitely a group of people that got together and wanted to write some good music that just happen to have a career being successful
Yeah,
in other
yeah.
music. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not like it's like some, and I'm not knocking the labels that do that. Just some of those labels help keep metal alive and put some paychecks in some of those guys' pockets. I get that, but this is different to me. Category Seven, it feels like a different type of thing. It feels more of a band. I mean, you guys do have a lot going on. Like, what? So, like, what are you looking at for your time schedule with what bands and projects you're doing, and then how's it divided up? Because everyone has a lot going on to begin with.
Because right now for me, I have like a little bit of downtime because everybody's busy doing things in other bands. First of all, as far as Shadows Fall goes, we're painstakingly trying to finish our record, but we're trying to finish the latest recordings we have. I don't know, we still on, what we're gonna do. We're gonna get something out this year. We know we're at some point.
Okay.
Anyways, we're trying to finish that. So that's been the biggest hurdle has been trying to get Zeus locked in because he's
Mhm.
producing it still. He's doing all the engineering, he's doing all the tracking. But since basically he's like on call with Rob Zombie, he's in Connecticut with him a lot. So it's like it's waiting for him to be free so we can get the rest of this stuff done so we can finally get it finished.
Okay.
But John starts touring with Anthrax now too, because they're going to be putting out their new record. So, like I said, that's a big factor right there because John's going to be gone. John from Anthrax will be too busy to be John from Shadows Fall. So,
Confusing.
yeah. So, and then I'll be with the ex John from Anthrax in June at Metal Fest in Milwaukee. So as I said, we're trying to, get our studio stuff finished as far as Shads goes and hopefully get out there as soon as we can. Um, category 7, I know is we're still working with John doing this, celebrating the songs of Anthrax 93
Yep.
to 2003. So we're doing Milwaukee Metal Fest in June. And I think there'll be more stuff to follow. I just don't know as of right this very second. But that's the talk. And category 7 is going to start writing, I believe.
Other stuff.
Timeline is we're getting ready to start
Right.
another record. We don't know when we're going to be able to put it out, but the point is like we want to start writing while we have these
Yeah.
pockets where we're around
Mhm.
because John will be around. He wants to wait a little bit to decompress from the Armored Saint record a little bit, but we're going to start that ball rolling. So,
Okay.
but like
That's
I
cool.
said, for me for the next few months, I'm just kind of hanging out in my home studio, giving lessons and taking sessions. Already got something up online with another band down in Jersey that I'm going to be doing a record with, I think. So I'm just taking on projects and working from home from right now.
So with Shadows Fall, from the time of not have left from the last album to now, and you being another musician with other bands, not get to the weeds of it, but songwriting and the distance, did you come in with a new perspective songwriting wise? I'm not looking for other stuff. I'm talking musically. Did it add to your, you know what I'm saying? Do you come in and say, hey, you know what? I wasn't thinking like this when I was in recording with them last time. Or do you feel like, nope, we have a groove and it's just as it is, it's perfection.
We just know what we do
Okay.
well together. And that's let's just say I think the fire was under mine and John's asses. Let's just put it that way. We were full of piss and vinegar and we had some shit to say with this record. So that's where
I'm
it's
looking
at.
forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. I am,
I
you
was
know.
for me it was coming back home to my family and being able to play drums the way I want to play them without being questioned about it.
Mhm.
I'm really excited about it. I mean, I wish it could be sooner, but whenever we get something out, it's going to be definitely well worth the wait. As far as a time frame and a timeline, like I said, I don't know what's going to happen with the Shadows Fall thing, but once it comes out, I'm the way it's been put to me, I'm pretty sure that we're not going to be doing much of anything until we have a product put out. So
Okay.
with that thought process, if we kind of lay low, I would say that if we put something out, I would tend to think that would generally be followed with probably as much stuff as we could do to back that.
Right.
Shadows Fall will
Yeah.
come first over anything else that I'm
Okay.
doing because that's my main.
Okay.
With John, Shadows Fall is, yeah, it's his band, but it's not his main priority. His main
Right.
priority is Anthrax, which is
Right.
understandable because that's who pays him.
Allowed to be in other bands, but now everyone's almost like an auxiliary musician for other people's
That
bands.
was that was the case years ago.
Cycling musical thing everywhere. I think less bands would have broken up if they could have done other projects.
Dude, Metallica wouldn't let Jason Newsted wear a fucking Flotsam and Jetsam shirt, dude. That's how bad it was.
Really? I didn't know that. I mean, I
Yes.
knew the Echo Brain thing. I didn't know the Flotsam.
Here's a yeah, another blabbermouth headline. Go back, go back and look at any pictures from Jason's first era of touring with them, like Justice era. Every
Yeah.
night he has a Sacred Reich shirt on. It was supposed to be a
Yeah.
Flotsam shirt, but they wouldn't let him fucking wear it.
Right. Not Metallica. I mean,
They
Flotsam.
didn't want him promoting his old band.
The old man. Okay. So, yeah.
They want him promoting his old band. That was the point. It's okay. You can wear the second biggest band from Phoenix,
Okay.
but
Okay.
no,
Okay. Yeah.
you can't help these guys by putting their shirt on and letting 15,000 people a night or whatever see that
Yep.
Flotsam logo, which could have fucking really helped them. But they
Yeah.
said, no, 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 no. So that's the stuff I'm talking about. That's the stuff that existed back in those days. You know,
Yeah.
or someone from I still remember there was someone, I can't remember what. It was someone in the death metal world. I don't remember like the details, but I remember it was like one of the guitar players wanted to do a side band with someone else and like got threatened to get kicked out by the main band or something. I'm like, it's not
Yeah.
taking food off your table. Like what does it matter? But things were different though, like back in in the 80s and stuff. It was like, oh, my band Solidarity and like my band and my band only, and we're gonna go to the top. And then after you've been doing that for 15, 20 years, you're like, oh, let me go play with some other dudes and see what else happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Are you taking students right now?
all
Like,
the above. Yep. I'm
how do we
taking
get? How do people reach
I'm
out to
taking
you? What's the
online.
process here?
Say that again. I was trying to
I'm sorry.
answer.
What's the process for people? Sorry, I got ahead of you. What was the process for people to reach out to you for these items?
Email me. to email me at jbittnerdrums@gmail.com. That's the process, or direct message me on Facebook or Instagram.
Okay.
Taking students live in the studio if you're in, this area, taking online students through Zoom, Skype, or Google, whatever it is now. It's not Skype anymore, it's through Google, FaceTime, whatever way you need to do a online drum lesson. I have 3 different ways, so
Yeah, different levels for people
and sessions. Yep.
Excellent. Are there any other side bands that you're playing with for fun in the meantime, like just to keep your chops up, like local bands or things to kind of go out and jam?
No, well, not really. Because I spend plenty of time right here keeping my chops up. I don't need other people to do it with.
I mean, some people like to go out and play live once in a while.
Some people are like, I need someone else to play with, but I am not that
Yes.
guy. I
Okay.
never have been. I'm just fine with just a set of drums and either nothing or, my stereo next to me, whatever it is, iPad, stereo, 8-track cassette player, laptop, tunes. As long as I got something, or if I'm working on something, for a client or something.
Your information below and the streaming and in the YouTubes for the kids, so they can reach out to you.
Awesome.
For lessons or playing, music with them or whatever they're looking for. So take advantage of him. He's a talented guy, and he's got some time.
Don't take advantage of me.
Oh my God. Well, take advantage of the situation in a professional, respectful way.
Offer, but don't.
Yeah, take advantage in a respectful, professional way, please. All right, brother.